Okay, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abdul Aziz ibn Iliyas, and there's nothing much to the name, just the face.
Okay.
Had my basic education in Bagabagasina High School, then to Tuyumba, then to Tamasco.
Oh, Tuyumba.
Yes.
Alright. No, I love this
Bofa. And then from Tuyumba, I came to Tamasco to UDS. I did my diploma there, degree, and I'm currently pursuing my MPhil in UDS now. So basically that's all there is, but aside that, I'm a poet, writer, editor, social marketer, project manager. I do a lot of things, a whole lot of things.
Alright. I think that you are better than Hakim. Hakim poetry is not that good.
Oh no. Hakim is one of the best poets I know. People, we have people who copy from other people's work.
Yeah.
You have people who write from the heart.
Okay.
He's one of the few who actually writes from the heart, and he doesn't care, I want to force to rhyme this line. He'll just give you the raw poetry, and you can actually feel that there is some authenticity. There are lots of other writers I know. I've been writing for like 11 years now.
Wow. Because the reason I'm saying Hakim that you said something from the heart.
Yeah.
Hakim technically tells us everything that no one can heart. No one can break one. No one can heart.
Okay, then he's writing from the conscience.
Conscience.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was able to make this possible. So
wonderful.
First of all, we say thanks to him.
MashaAllah.
For
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
So Shiek Abdul Aziz.
Okay.
I want to. We've seen the Islamic community, be it northern region, in the southern region, east and west. We've seen our Islamic community.
Yes.
But somehow it feels like we are lacking behind. I don't know. But when it comes to education, secular education, it seems we are not comparing, but it seems the the Christian community is quite doing well. We have Christian schools, and it goes by their beliefs and teachings. And we have some hospitals that are Christian hospitals.
Sure.
Technically, they treat Muslims and all that,
yeah.
But the Christian community came together to build these things.
Yes.
We've heard stories about the Prophet, and he was a good businessman, he was a good political leader, like he was exceptional in everything that he touched, naturally. And we are told to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet. Yeah. Are we Muslims in Ghana, particularly in other region, actually just following the religion aspect and leaving the developmental aspect?
Well, thank you. That's very true. It's very abundant. We like to prize ourselves with the worship aspect. The khams salawat, you go, you pray, you fast, you go to Hajj, and that's it. But the social aspect of the religion we tend to ignore. And this is very true. The Prophet was exemplar beyond compare in religious, in political affairs and economic affairs as well as education. So we ask that we are lacking behind education, and it translates in our economic lives as well, and our political lives as well. And that's very true. With the education part, yes, because you see, people or Muslims in northern region have long been against secular education for some reason or two, and it's currently an outdated notion, if you ask me, because it used to be like when a Muslim leaves here and goes out there to study the secular education, he catches the Europeanization fever. He ends up coming back home, previously known as Alasan Musa, comes back home as Alasan Victor Musa, adds a Victor to his name, or some kind of, allow me to say, English and somewhat like Christian name. But who do we blame? Ourselves again, because we allowed other faiths to create educational systems, setting their own standards that we must hold ourselves up to. So that's where we fall short as Muslims. So it's about time. I've always said this, and Shiek Illiyas, our mentor, is one who has always aspired to see an Islam in another region where it goes beyond constantly building mosques around. You understand? Literally every house in Tamale has a mosque. Literally every house in Tamale has a mosque. Now, who will leave his house to go to the other's house to pray? See the issue? So it's about time we moved from the mosques and start consolidating those funds to also come up with an Islamic clinic.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yeah.
Regarding the health side, come up with an Islamic center, a clinic, just as the other clinics around, but where nurses can also manifest their religion, doctors can manifest their religion. It will not be discriminative though, despite your faith when you come into it, just like we see in other Catholic and other faith-based churches. Same thing with the schools. I mean, very few Islamic schools are in Tamale. We have purely Islamic schools. It's just Arabic. That's all. They don't teach the English aspect, and when they do, it's kind of some way. So yeah, so it's about time people or Muslims in northern region moved from that part. You ask yourselves, why is it that in Ghana, where they say it's not Ghana is not a religious country, but then in everything other faiths rather than Muslims are the heralds and spearheads of that. They are the richest, they are the smartest, they are the most influential, but we are lacking behind. That's because of that root problem, the remote problem that we shouldn't go to school. And finally, when we even went to school, we're forced to hold ourselves up to some certain standards, not our Islamic, you understand. So it kind of made the problem more entrenched in our society.
Yeah, and I know this kind of a bit cliche. Like you said, we have like one of the best people we have in our country currently. Most of them are Muslims. There are other religious groups. We have the traditional people.
Oh yeah, true.
Aside from the Christians, Muslims have one of the distant. But like we celebrated the Chief Imam's 102nd birthday yesterday. But we still ask ourselves, in terms, let's look at education aspect, the educational aspect. Like the Prempe, the Chimota, they are all missionary kind of schools, right? And up till now, aside from, let's say, Ahmadiyya, that is kind of changing the terrain in the Muslim community. The other Muslim communities, it's like we are just focused, like you say, on the mosque building and on the distance. As young people coming up, we are going to follow people like you, because Shiek Illiyas they are already far ahead. You can catch up with them. So you're going to follow young people like you. What do you think are the mistakes? You highlighted the mistakes they made. So what do you think you people can do currently?
So I think what needs to be done, first of all, is for us to all agree that there's a problem. Because Northerners, we are so fond of pretending as if there is no there is no problem. So we have to accept there's a problem, and all sponsor ways of mitigating those problems. If we come to the discussion table and agree, yes, this is the problem, there's a problem, we identify the problem and accept it and try to find our way around it. Just take Corona for example. When coronavirus came, I was like, oh, somebody, it can't come here. Even if it comes, it hasn't come. Why? Because there is nothing wrong. So they continue. You understand? They keep shaking hands. They keep breathing on each other. They keep choking themselves. You understand? So until we first of all agree that there is a problem, and then we look at it from this perspective. There are more than enough mosques around. We are not saying stop building mosques, but when you want to build a mosque, build it where it's needed. I'm a development advocate. I've traveled some few communities in Tamale and northern region. I've seen places where, come on, basically, like you go to one community, and then what the shelter they use as a masjid is, come on, you'll be shy to call it the house of God. But here we are in Tamale, still building ultra modern mosques. Divide the money you channel into building the ultra modern mosque into two. Take it to 2 communities. Build half that mosque here and half that mosque over there, and you'll be serving an actual purpose. Why go to a community, give them Islam, and you don't give them a means of worshiping? That's one thing. Two, Muslims should also try, this our time, we should try to move away from the conventional way of doing things. Things are changing, you understand. We need to make Islam more attractive in so many senses, Today, if I tell you that we should for example take this Eid al-Fitr, just this forthcoming Eid al-Fitr, and make it something and monetize it, make it something more fun for families and children to socialize and grow up within their colleague Muslims, and make everything we do Islam-like. Shouldn't we rather do this than risk our children going out to socialize with their non-Muslim colleagues and pick certain values and come home? And then another thing too should be that we should look at things in a more global way like now. We should stop thinking that it's just us. Come on, there are other people you can reach out there to share insights, share resources. So we should begin to master other forms of funds apart from just the money. Logistics is a resource, you understand. Exchange programs are resources. Islam should by now in northern region, or Muslims should have Islamic funds or foundations that support needy students to go to school. Most of these funds we get from donor countries are from non-Muslims. But trust me, I believe that one prince in Brunei is richer than almost everybody in the Danish kingdom. They are super rich. But it's not that most of them don't give these money out. They give it out, but then they use it to build mosques. You see the issue? And this being a completely educative talk, I don't want to quote verses, but then Allah says in the Quran that the land of your Lord is so wide and vast, so use it as a masjid. Wherever you find yourself, this means that wherever you find yourself, you can pray. So that's why there are so many ways we can pray. Even if you are traveling, you can pray. You are sick, you can pray. You can pray. They've made the religion so easy. So why must we have one house, one mosque, one house, one mosque? That money you're using to build that house, that mosque, please try. Like, give that money out to be built in a different community where they actually need a mosque. So let's separate our needs from our want. I want to build a masjid. Come on. See it more of a need where it is needed than you cite it there. I think this way we can move forward, and then Islam or Muslims around should try to. We shouldn't be too scared. You see, sometimes when you talk of certain issues, they say that no, we shouldn't just bring it into Islam. Like the last time I was having an eye-dow with someone about the use of contraceptives. About the use of contraceptives.
Yes, that's an interesting one.
In Islam, you understand. But then they still wouldn't understand what I was trying to say. I was trying to. Nowadays, you can't preach abstinence. Let's be very honest with ourselves. You cannot preach abstinence. You see, and we actually are. But I just hope our listeners will be very positive in their discretion.
Yes.
You see, trust me, I have been teaching for like 15 years now. The moment I graduated, I completed Quran, I started teaching. My colleagues, my elders in terms of age, until I got here. You see, and I've seen people develop, and I've seen the hormonal changes in people, like how they've responded to it negatively. I would like to emphasize one thing our mentor always says, Shiek Illiyas, that it's about time there should be Islamic counseling centers. And these are all rewarding services, not just about prayer. Look, we can save and salvage so many broken homes and marriages if there were Islamic counseling centers.
Exactly.
There are some few there are some like very little but essential details that has caused the cracks in the houses, the little chink in the armor that has made women leave their marital homes. You ask her, doesn't he clothe you? He does. Doesn't he feed you? He does. anything you can think of, the guy does it. But then what's the problem? She won't tell. Tells you that there is something somewhere, and only a counseling or a counselor can figure it out.
But it's like I always say that our preaching in Northern region hasn't changed. We're still doing the 1847 kind of preaching. So it's affecting our way of life or in all aspects. When this counseling centers you're talking about, this how will I say, development institutions we should get to help support development of this Islamic community. Someone will tell you that Anab Sahma can. You see, so sometimes I think also I don't know. Is it because Anab Sahma can, that's why people don't want to do it, or we haven't expanded, like you said, expanded on our knowledge of Islam? Because if you rightly said that in your car you can pray in this and that. That means Islam was even mobile, even before technology arrived.
Yes.
It was already mobile.
Very true.
So is it that those who are preaching currently, our current preachers, they are not able to connect where we are now to where they are, or is it that the religion is an ancient religion and we have to continue to practice it?
No, I think Islam is one of the most I think it's the youngest religion in the world. Yes, I think Islam is the youngest religion because it's the last authentic religion given to the last prophet, to the last of Ummah.
Wow.
So I think there shouldn't be that element of Islam being ancient. Islam has moved through stages a lot. You see, when you say an-nafs hadrakani during that time, it wasn't there. That's not a hujjah. That's not a ruling. There are things we've seen the Prophet didn't see.
Yes.
Even if he now sees it, he's in the different realm seeing it, and he can't come here. It's left on to the ulama, the scholars who are his inheritors, his regents on earth, to do the work. You see, so people should understand that we are in a global world. Someone does something in Turkey and it affects you here in Ghana. Let's take social protection as an example. Why they brought social protection? It was just and foreign aid. It was just because they got global awareness that if we are to leave the neighboring countries or the poor countries to continue being poor, they will keep cutting down trees, they will keep destroying nature, and it will have an effect on us. So they tried giving aid to us as a way of saving themselves. So it will push us into schools, push us into lucrative avenues so that we stop cutting down trees, and then give us some sort of enlightenment in our thinking. You see, so I think Islam is that religion that accepts, and it's all welcoming in terms of how life has changed. I don't think there used to be abortion during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Surgical abortion, there wasn't. So if you wake one of his companions now today and ask him to pass a ruling on that, it will be hard. You see, in this world now, they never saw an incubator. Now a woman, if it gets to a point she can no longer hold the pregnancy, they put the baby in an incubator. It will come out healthy and strong. You see, they didn't see these things, but we have. So what ruling do we pass on this? Do you say that such a baby who hasn't undergone the 9 months pregnancy in the gestation period in his mother's womb, can't do this, can't do that? You can't say that. Technology has caused some certain changes, and for those of them that are realistic, reasonable, things that we can accept, we can also adopt them into our society. For example, the issue of sighting the moon in the month of Ramadan. I would like to the revolutionary brother Muammar Gaddafi, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, the president of Libya. He said to the United Arab Emirates that, look, it's about time we incorporate technology, the use of technology in sighting of the moon, rather than relying on primitive methods. So don't you think it's very shameful, appalling that up until now in Tamale and in Ghana, the issue of sighting the moon is still some heinous issue. Come on, by now it should have been resolved.
So would you say that now, like I like that you mentioned that the Prophet had people like those who are learned and the how like now those the imams we have currently.
Yes.
Would you say they are the reason why Islam in Islamic communities are backwards in terms of how they preach, how they engage young people? You mentioned about that is a future thing. That like there should be a place where Muslim families can gather and also have some celebration. Well, it's usually Christians. They do barbecue, they do this,
everything,
everything they do. Here, after you go to eat place and come home, you are done. There's nothing else. And the idol, and you can't keep reciting Quran and play every day. So the idol man is the devil's workshop. So would you say that our current Islamic leaders, they are failing to lead us properly, and that is what is causing these broken marriages, broken homes, broken youths, and broken systems in the Islamic community?
I think one major issue is the lack of secular education. Most of our imams, if you look very well, you see that close to zero of them have been to school.
Close to zero of them.
You understand?
Wow.
Because very few, just a pinch of them have had a taste of secular education. And even if you check in our universities, even our lecturers and professors, it takes some level of exposure, some level of experience, some level of travel
to get them thinking differently,
to cause a paradigm shift in their thinking. You understand? So that's why up until now you go to certain institutions and the status quo, the bureaucracy is so cumbersome, because it's still that older generation until they phase out, until they accept.
The phase out, how can we phase them out? It's like you don't have time again. We're lagging behind so much.
Well, yes,
how can we phase it? Can we help them phase out?
That is very true. I think one way is I think it should be like in a form of an equilibrium. They help us, we help them, in such a way that we are the younger generation. We've seen things and heard things they've not seen, though they are with us. Come on, I bet you that you have your phone. If you have a son, he knows inside that phone more than you.
Yes.
I know my former senior high school teacher in government had his phone, and his son had a phone inside the phone, an application that allows him to have a phone within another phone. All he needs to do is data, log in, and then he can operate from there. Wow. The dad never knew. But this is just like a 12-year-old boy as compared to a 48-year-old man. So you just look at the technological advancement. Children nowadays are very curious. Just pretend as if you are watching something inside your hand. A child comes in. He wants to see, what's this guy looking at? He's telling you. He wants to see. We are now, I think, responding to certain things. So if only they would accept some of our ideas, our initiatives. And that's what Islam is all about. When you're a leader, you should identify some certain people within your circle that you know that this person has very constructive criticisms, constructive ideas that he levies, and you pull such a person close to yourself. So we the children, we the younger generations, I think that's one way we can bridge that gap. And it's either they pull us close to themselves, or we try going close to them. And we should all work on one grounds of acceptance. When we are coming to them, they should welcome us. They shouldn't shun us away. And when they are also trying to pull us close, we shouldn't shy away. You understand?
But don't you think that sometimes the children are trying to get closer, the young people are trying to get closer, but it's like, I see it in even our normal work environment, not even Islamic, but normal work environment. Usually the older generation, or just even among ourselves, you always feel intimidated. We always feel insecure when someone who knows it better is coming into the field.
Oh yes.
I've listened to Dr. Dufelu.
Okay.
He has a different mindset of how education should go on, and I believe if he was one of the we had like maybe 10 or 5 officers. Education in UDS would have had a different like outlook altogether. But it seems that we just have those one people who are there, and the older generation is not ready to accept them, probably out of fear, or they still want to hold their mantle as
yes. I think that's another virus, because they don't, some of them don't want you to come close. They feel like you're coming to impose yourself on them. You are coming to show the new cosmovision you are coming with. No, that's not it. We are coming to learn. You see, I believe, I've always said that experience is a whole different discipline, that you can't learn it. Like, you can't say it's not written in books. You have to follow the person's lead, and he tells you. I remember there was this doctor in West Hospital, Dr. Harun Asando, may Allah be pleased with him, he's no more. He once said to a younger doctor who just came from US, those kind, said, "Young man, you cannot frighten me with bronchopneumonia." You understand? Because there was this case that the new guy wanted to show how good he is. He said, "Young man, you've read this thing in books. We have done this thing 30 years. We've seen this case. We know how it has evolved. So relax." You understand? So knowledge is different from the experience itself. So I think the older generation should see us as such. They should see us as people, as their own children, trying to learn from them, not trying to take their positions. But like it or not, change is a constant factor. You will move. Someone was there before you, so you'll transition out, and someone will come in, like it or not. It's a constant factor.
No, and I have a very listen. Do you think the Prophet foresaw? It's my English right? Foresaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Technology, the advancement of technology, and if he had, what did he say about it?
The advancement of technology, if we want to say the Prophet actually did see it, we'll have to use some sort of esoteric explanations to this, but which is usually very hard for the comprehension of other people. But I'll try as much as possible to make it very simple. Today we have situations where I can, like when I was still at home, Hakim called me, "Where are you?" We communicated. Allah says in the Quran that He will cause the earth to shrink, and He will bring it close. You understand? Most back in the day, they used to give an explanation like, "That'll be on the day of judgment. The world will capsize into two, or like it will just come close, like how you close the pages of a book." But today, some sort of enlightenment in the religious sciences has made it clear that Allah didn't mean that. He meant that He will make communication, you understand, trading and other activities very easy for us. Today I can sit here and call someone in the States, but back then we would need to be very close this way to hear each other's voices. It went far better than that. Now we can actually see each other, you understand. And this actually happened with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You understand? Situations where he would have information from a different place happening right there and then, and he would know and can tell his companions, "This is what's going on at this place." Another example is this levitation, flying. Prophet ﷺ, we can say he flied or traveled into space because of the night of Isra and Mi'raj. You understand? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invited him to the seventh sky. He had to ride with Jibril, transcend from one point to another in one night. We can literally say that's like flying. You understand? These were done in much more unorthodox ways. But if it could happen without any physical means then, and now happens today with physical means, these are all testimonies that it would happen in the near future. And who best to set the example? Who best to set the standard, the train, rather than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You understand? Another thing like that is when he went for Isra and came back to his people, and he said he had traveled to Jerusalem, and then there was this whole controversy that it's not possible, it takes months, you have leagues of land to cover before you can get there. How did you go there in one night and come back? Then he said, okay, fine, I'll prove to you. There are travelers who are traveling in the middle of the night. They are at this point, they are at this place, they should reach here Makkah by 4, for example. You understand? And then they said, okay, today we'll see if you're a prophet or not. And then lo and behold, the time was getting near, but they had delayed. Problem was like, my people are delaying Allah, so what's going on? Allah caused the sun to remain stagnant, to stay at one point until the travelers came into Makkah completely. Then quickly it became dark.
Wow.
You understand?
That's probably if the sun had fallen, they would stay for a night.
You understand?
Yeah.
So then the people saw them come in. He could see from he was given the ability to see from far. Yeah. Just as how we now see each other from far. The same thing with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was traveling with his wife, a rich and powerful king, detained them, wanted to have carnal knowledge with his wife, and then for Allah to remove every iota of doubt in his heart, he removed the veil between his eyes and the room of the king.
Wow.
And he could see through the wall, like see what was going on. So later on, when his wife was trying to explain, oh, nothing happened to him, he said, okay, I know, I could see everything. So these are things that has happened, though spiritual, but then translate into physical life. Now
we have goggles that can see through walls.
You understand? Yeah. So many things, and now actually, like for example, understanding the language of other creatures. I hear now scientific advancement has proven that even plants talk.
Wow.
Even plants feel pain, and they scream, but then just that the frequency at which they scream, your ears cannot hear it. You will need certain devices to enable you to hear how the scream is. You understand, or what they are saying, just that you will not understand.
Wow. So that begs my question. If Islam has actually told us about these things, that means Islam predicted, or Islam knew about technology advancement and all this, right? The question is, shouldn't Muslim community be the ones leading innovation and technology and development?
Very true. But I believe that our tradition, our culture, where we find ourselves has been a very serious problem. Like I said earlier on about some of our ulama not getting secular education.
Yeah.
Like it's still such a big thing, like it's still such a big step for them to take. You understand? Because if now, I know one guy, I've kind of forgotten the name. He's a friend of mine on Instagram. I've forgotten the name. He has this very weird name. Be it what it is, he's a Zongo boy in Kumasi who created some sort of technological device. You understand? And when he was interviewed in Dubai, he said it was completely inspirational. He was like, if we go to the masjid to perform ablution and we need to open the pipe to do that, I believe I can change something about it. Instead of opening the pipe now, like for example, instead of opening your door, you have a sensor. The moment you get to your door, it opens. Yeah, like iPhones. I need something on internet. I'll be like, hey Siri, search for this, and it gives it to me. You understand? So it was like he looked around his community, stuff like that pushed him to go into technology. And if you check the history, the correct history very well, you realize that Muslims were actually the pioneers of scientific advancement. We have Ibn Sina, who they call Avicenna.
Yes.
And later on several other allegations came that the likes of Shakespeare were all Arabs. So they say Shakespeare is Sheikh Zubair, like Shakespeare, Sheikh Zubair, and then they say the innovator of algebraic expression was something Al-Jabir. You know, people like that. You understand? These were all Arabs, but then because of I think globalization, the international political economy, like the wars are happening during those times, caused most of them to move from places to the other. So their history, their trails were lost. It will be dazzling to find out that Spain was once an Islamic state. You understand? These were Muslims. Most of the architectural work done there were done by Muslims. Were done by Muslim Arabs, or let me say Muslims.
So we have this fantastic history, even though it's fictional, this fantastic history. So we're coming to roughly to the end of it. Now it now settled down to education. Education. As Islamic communities, it's education. Because here we say Islam, we like Afisa, we Chamkan, then go back to Abdian, that kind of thing. Is it kind of wrong, or is it the way they say that is wrong? It's like just focus on Islamic education. Don't worry about secular education.
I think it will be. I think without even an atom's weight of fear, I'll say it is wrong.
Okay.
I'll say it is wrong, because I mean, how many of those saying that to their children has a net worth? I'm saying net worth, not has bank savings. Net worth, including his house, his everything he owns, has a net worth of 50,000 Ghana cedis. Everything he's worth, nothing. Like, ain't none of them has got that. So what are you actually going to leave as inheritance to your child? We can literally spend 10,000 Ghana cedis on organizing your funeral rites, another 5,000 going around greeting people, and we'll share the rest among we or 10 children. Only the males, like 1,000 Ghana cedis, which won't even reach. You understand? How much will be left? Can we both survive? Can we all survive on 1,000 Ghana cedis for even like me? I'm talking today. I can easily spend 1,000 cedis like I'm buying kosher or something. You see? So what inheritance are you leaving for the children? The only thing they've got for them is secular education. Because trust me, I can say this today, Islamic education in Northern Region and Ghana or Africa does not pay. I say it again. Islamic knowledge, Islamic religion knowledge does not pay. It doesn't settle the score when it comes to your bills in Africa or in Ghana. Unlike in the States, I have a friend who went there to hustle, like to win, not to continue hustle. Luckily for him, we were with him in Habibullah Islamic Institute. He had his basic education with the Quran, Ahdari, a little bit of Arabic language, you know, just some few things. The guy who went there to become a hustler today has a second-hand Lamborghini driving in New York. He has a fully rented and paid apartment for him, and he was given a chance to come home and marry his wife, get citizenship card, and bring her back to the States. They're happily married with 2 kids.
Wow.
Unlike in the States where being an imam or a religious leader actually pays, they put you on a fee. I mean, if that was the case, man, I'd like relax and I mean, I would look for the highest paying Islamic institute in Ghana and work there. I'll be happy to render my services.
And talking about the institutions you say, like this donor institutions, if they come to form, if they had something like that, a regulatory body, and it will serve as employment for these imams too.
Oh yes.
And people will be motivated to
understand
more.
Oh yes, very very true. So that's the issue. If you're telling your son or your child to not pay any attention to the secular education, what inheritance are you leaving over for him? Because even if you you see the issue, I mean, your liar starts here. You understand? It began here the very moment you drew your first breath into the cages of your ribs. that is when your lahira began. All the inhalations and exhalations were calculated. 14 billion inhalations, 14 billion exhalations. It starts the countdown. You understand? Even if you have a quadrillion, a quintillion, septillion, it starts with a count. It counts down until there's no breath anymore. And it all starts here. What you go there to meet, you work for it here. That's what Shiek Illiyas tells us. You understand? That the currency you spend in the hereafter is deposited in this world. You deposit the money there. When you go and meet it. So if you leave your poor child uneducated, vulnerable, weak, not respected, reduced to close to nothing in the society, can even fend for himself, not talk of being a prolific Muslim for other children to emulate, for even himself alone. You see,
you have to be the best example of yourself.
You understand? Trust me, most of our ulamas or our scholars in Northern region are not respected simply because they are poor. Fakim will bear witness.
Yeah.
And even we, the younger ones, we have some of them we respect because this one is weak and this one is poor. See the issue? So you should leave that the education of the time, ilmul hal, the education of the time, the sort of education of the time you are living in, is what you should leave for your children.
That is what the Quran says. You
understand? Because Islam teaches that every kind of knowledge that is beneficial comes with reward. So it will amaze you that on the day of judgment, some doctor you are not expecting, like you don't see him to be anyone that really takes prayer as a serious issue. You wouldn't find him in Jannah because why? He used to save people's lives. And it's that secular education we see filth attached to. You understand? I mean, you bear witness that most of our ulama who have had secular education, their way of thinking, their da'wah, the likes of Shiek Illiyas Omar, the likes of Sheikh Muhammad Amin Bamba, the likes of, some of those few ulama who have had some sort of education, their way of thinking, their cosmovision is different.
Yes.
Because they engage in NGOs and then they are also invited. They have a seat at the helm of affairs when it comes to national issues. If we keep saying that to mitigate coronavirus, we need our scholars to come in. How do they come in if they are not educated? You understand? Because up until now, you invite your friend to come and attend a sermon with you or an Islamic program with you, and he comes there and he literally doesn't learn anything. Why? Because they keep saying, if you don't do this, you go to hell. If you do this, you go to paradise. They keep saying that. Who wants to go to hell? So bring the preaching to the very forefront of societal issues, things that people see in their day-to-day lives, things they understand, things they can attest to, and they will not understand you. But then most of these tafsir we listen to, you listen to it all day, you've not learned anything.
Oh, the thing you just know that, okay, some of the things that you mentioned, I'm literally going to help. So
you understand?
I have to improve on that. That's all. Yeah, that's the thing.
So if you keep making people feel scared, rather than make them scared, give them the motivation. You understand?
Yeah. And I think that is what, aside from Shiek Illiyas and Amin Baba, I think that's what the likes of Muslim Mike Bilal finish.
That's so amazing. That's why I love Sheikh Mufti Menk a lot.
Because I feel like even Christians, you see Christians quoting Mufti Mike, because they feel like it's inspirational, it's motivational.
Good.
But when you turn on your radio here in Tamale, all you know is you start after the Imam finish the dawah. All you catch is, these are the things that I do that I'm going to hell. These are the things that I do that I'm going to heaven. So people give out not because it's good to give out, but they're just preventing themselves from going to hell.
You understand?
So that comes with our political sugars. Because the people actually need something like that.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
That is very true. Like that, I don't think there's a better way to put it than how you've put it. People are doing that because they are scared.
Yes.
They're not doing it because they actually feel like it's my responsibility. I should be a caregiver in Islam.
Yes.
You understand? Like they don't feel the sense of belongingness, the sense of responsibility, the duty call. They don't have it within them. So literally most of these politicians or other people who give is because they've had this sheikh say, even though then he now comes.
Let's drop on the final point. When you come here, you have to touch on women empowerment.
Okay. Okay.
And it has to dive into the religion. It's very recently we did a documentary, a live documentary on
yeah.
And there are a lot of things we had to read from foreign people. Just imagine that the only notes we have in northern Ghana was Dr. Anamzuya, former or sister the current NDA boss. He did a chapter, or it was a collaborative book. He did a chapter on Hadia Mariam, and the detailed one we had was with Mustafa Hamid, Honorable Mustafa Hamid, Zongo, former Zongo minister. Yeah, he did a thesis on Islam and gender and Zambang and all that. So, but the rest was from foreign people coming out to write about Hadia Mariam. And Islam is growing. Every day you go online and see Muslim women preaching. And Tamale, Hadia has been there for almost 30, 40 years now, preaching. But it seems she's still the only one, if not her and her group, the institution. There are no other women preaching. And is it still, is she breaking rules for doing that? And if she's not, why are other women from your institution, from Shiek Illiyas institution, from Sheikh Bama institution? Well, we are mentioning these two because they are people that probably we are able to understand, given the generation we are coming from or the thought pattern we have. But why are your institutions not bringing forth such men? Because we feel like, or most feminists or most Muslim women might understand the religion better coming from the woman perspective, especially in terms of this marital style, this divorce style. Probably they might not feel a bit okay to discuss that certain girly stuff with the imam, but if it's a female, they will discuss that.
Okay, thank you. I think this is very interesting, and this question, should take like an hour or two.
Yes.
To discuss.
You will have to rearrange another.
Yes. First of all, most women feel disenfranchised in Islam, which they shouldn't feel like that at all. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to have time for women, married and unmarried, widows and sisters of men and other things, traders, come to him directly, to the founder of the religion himself, not even an imam, a founder. Come to him, sit down and pose pertinent questions to him. That's one. So women shouldn't feel scared or shy to go to the ulama to ask. Secondly, you mentioned the issue of why our camps we don't yet have that. In our defense, though not to justify, it doesn't excuse anything, but we are still an infant institution. So we have such children we are grooming. They are not yet grown, but for some of them that are grown, you find them actually at the helm of affairs in wherever they find themselves, because that's the kind of education we give them. There are a few of them. I think Apakim knows Lina, and a few others I can't really mention. That wherever they go, if there's an issue of Islam, they can tackle. But just as I said earlier on, most people don't see how Islam pays the bills. You understand? Because your life here needs to be solidified for you to somehow somewhat secure the hereafter. You understand? So if like there were institutions, Islamic institutions that say, we are going to pay you 5,000 Ghana cedis a month to be a da'iyah, a Muslim, a female Muslim preacher. Hey, we would have had it. I know the hookup girls in Tamale who become sheikhs and what in Tamale, because it pays. It pays, yes. It pays. It pays. Yes. You understand? Yeah. Trust me. If each and every imam at every central mosque was to be paid like 5,000 Ghana cedis a month, trust me, Islam would look much more beautiful. You understand? Yeah. These are some of the things. And then naturally women shy. They shy from certain stuff. I think that's another issue. They mostly feel shy and timid because of the kind of upbringing they get at home. Common education, like it's still an issue. Few of them are scared to aspire for greater heights. Few of them, like most of them are scared, and few of them are not. Very few of them are not, because you see that most of them, the men look, the best nowadays, the best they can do is the best is degree. You understand? Up to now, we mentioned masters to a female. Hey, it's an issue. Well, people have PhDs. I know a doctor in Accra who has 3 PhDs. Wow. Yes, a female, and she's a Muslim. Wow. Yes.
And they say that the higher you go, you might not get married. No Muslim man wants married.
Yeah, I think that's because of some few mistakes or some problematic trends some few educated Muslim women set for people that made them be like, okay, I'll marry an educated woman. You understand? But I think now it's changing. Now I think even men don't want to marry women they feel are like liabilities on them. But I want to send this one to our males to not feel like that. A woman, look, in Islam, a woman's money is her own. Your own is her own on top. So take your eyes off your wife's money and let both of you spend your own. It is dying yearly.
Okay.
You know,
I think it has settled because
it is like that. But then coming back to the issue, see that most of these females who are not able to reach that height Hajjah Mariam has reached, mostly is because of our communities.
Yes.
You understand? That's how people label them. So one factor is because of the alienation of Muslim women in the Islamic camp. You understand? If not, women would best, I think to a certain degree, welcome ideas and words from the feminine side.
Yes.
How do you expect me, a man, to come and best explain how I hide menstruation to women? But a fellow woman knows the pros and cons. You understand? The merits and demerits. She knows everything about it. She knows that it comes with mood swings. How many of our Malams know that there's something like mood swing? One moment she likes it, one moment she doesn't like it. You understand? She wakes up with her mood swings during her menstrual cycle and look at this beautiful bananas. She'll be like, stupid bananas. It's been annoying me. What has the bananas done? That's the mood swing. And these are very essential details that only a woman would best carry across. You understand? Because they'll feel like, okay, she knows it, she understands it. But then if it's a man, if you even be a man, you are very shy to mention the thing word for word. But you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to conceal it. Mention it. Let them know what you are talking about. If it's a female man, they easily talk about it, and they have welcome jargons and other things they use to represent these stuff. I remember recently, Sheik Amin Sawaba, the Imam of Sawaba, was trying to talk of the issue of wedding receptions and these extravagancies we see in weddings nowadays. I think he was using some certain terms, reception, bridal showers, this, and he's not educated that much. So it literally meant that he researched, he called like one of the girls from the streets. What's this called? What is this? What is that? You understand?
Just to know how to say it.
Say it well. Yeah. Carry over the message. So that's the issue. If not, women have always been at the forefront origo of Islamic affairs. Even in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, women were very supportive during crisis, wars, hunger, famine, and such. Not even talk of the economic activities, because they own the economy.
Women own the economy.
You understand? Because up until now, the Prophet prophesied that there will come a time when the ratio of man to woman will be 50 women to 1 man. Whoa. Currently in Ghana, isn't it 7 women to 1 guy? And in the world, it's 5 women to 1 man. It's going. The world is like 7-point-something billion now. Almost everywhere you go, if it is naming ceremony, it's mostly girls they give birth to. So that's how it is. More women than. So how can you sideline such a powerful force? You can't. You understand? So like the likes of Shifa bint Abdullah, she was the market controller of let me say she was the controller general of the market in Medina, appointed by Sayyidina Umar bin Khattab. And even when Sayyidina Umar, astaghfirullah, Islam has really, I think it has some way somehow regressed. I think I should write something on that. How Islam has regressed instead of progressed. You understand? Yes. Because back then, in conducting khutbah, just our Friday sermon, women were not veiled. They want to see the one delivering the message. There was no veil between people.
The women and the men.
No. Such that when the imam is delivering his sermon, yes, and there's an issue right there and then, a woman can ask the question from behind.
Whoa.
And it was the same case with Shifa. When a young man came to Prophet Sayyidina Umar and told him that, oh, now dowry is very high in Mecca, you can't marry, so please talk about it in your sermon. So in his sermon he tried to tell them that no one should ask for dowry more than 440 dinar. If you ask for more than that, you subtract the excess and add it to the Baytul Mal, the house of the religious bank of Muslims. Then Shifa said, that's not your decision to make. It's clearly stated in the Quran that whatever amount the family of the woman sets for the man to pay as dowry should be paid. You should not take it. Are you doing that on the path of transgression and misguidance? The whole Amir al-Mu'minin, the whole Caliph, the whole leader of the Muslims worldwide, as of then, was questioned by a woman. The success of Islam, the foundation of the success of Islam was built on a woman, the wife of Prophet Muhammad, Khadija.
And we are told that, recently I learned that if anyone who does prayer, she has a share of the reward.
Oh yeah, because she aided,
yes,
in that. You understand? So you can imagine.
I think we have to find a day and we discuss women, Islam and feminism.
Yes,
so that
but
yes.
Just before I go, I would just like to throw in this one, that people should understand extremism from feminism.
Very well.
If you ask me, Islam is the most feminist religion in the world. Islam protects the integrity of the woman to the nonsense degree. So when this notion, this idea has caught on in a very wrong perspective. Now women are trying to do certain things that goes out of the margins of Islam, all in the name of feminism. You understand? If I stand to defend the rights of women for you, you go shock. If you think that I'm bisexual, you understand? My mother's a woman, I have sisters, you understand? And we know the role Muslim women have played in Islam. But people tend to try to make it some way. Islam is subverting women. Come on, learn your Islam. Your Islam is different. Come and learn this one. So I think that one, people should, that's just a digression, to just drop people's minds. Now what I have said, if a Muslim man is saying this, and you have certain other notions about feminism, trying to challenge the status quo in Islam, or in the name of feminism, you are getting it all wrong. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. I'm saying, okay, now we're not planning. Mr. Abdul Aziz Iliyas,
it's like the Abdul Aziz bin Iliyas, yes.
Thank you very much for spending this quality time with us. I think this we will have to play it over and over again. This has been very educational.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
To have you another time.
Inshallah. Right, thank you very much.